Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Trucking Tower Podcast Sales Tips. I'm actually going to be walking through a methodology that I've developed across 25 years of sales and marketing. And this is going to be a multi-part series, but I want to touch on today the model called the 2V to 2R ratio, and then also LinkedIn profile optimization. I'm going to walk through that with you, just some freebies for you as well. So let me go ahead and turn on my screen share here. Okay, so the 2V to 2R ratio, I'm just going to talk about what this is. To begin with, it really drives our marketing, our messaging, and our sales approach as well within my companies, and I hope you find value in it as well. We also use an automation called Lead Sniper along with this to drive hundreds of leads, meetings, and deals. So let me just get into what this is, 2V to 2R. So basically the 2V side, you want to make sure this left side far outweighs and is way bigger than the right side. So what is the left side? First of all, verified results, and secondly, value. So what are verified results? We're talking about testimonials, case studies, social proof, such as media coverage, podcasting, and so forth. And then value. What's the net savings? What's the return on investment? What's the cost to benefit ratio? So you want to make sure when you're working with executives, this left side is far bigger than the right side. So what is the right side? That's resistors and risk. So resistors would be things like time and effort and the hurdles needed in order to get to the value and the verified results on the left. And then risk would be things like lost money, wasted time, and issues caused by whatever products or service offering that you're bringing to the market. So again, you want the left side, of course, to be way bigger than the right. And you want to actually let executives know how that works. What is the value that you're bringing to them? What's in it for them? And what kind of proof do you have that they're going to get to those results? And then on the right, can we make it less time and effort to get there, less hurdles, and show them a great benefit to where they're not going to have a high amount of risk in implementing whatever the service, solution, or product may be. So that's the model. So next I'm going to bounce over to my LinkedIn profile and talk about your LinkedIn profile and how to close more deals using this methodology and carrying that through in your LinkedIn profile itself. So let's bounce over to LinkedIn. Okay, so first of all, the very first thing you're going to see when you go to somebody's LinkedIn profile is the cover image. So you should make that compelling. Something besides just the canned image. For me, I do a lot of podcasting, and I have my own podcast called the Trucking Tower Podcast. And then, of course, I've been on other podcasts as well. So I have some of that here in my cover image. The very next thing somebody's going to look at, of course, your profile photo should be a professional photo of primarily a headshot and whatever attire I would recommend. Business attire, a jacket, a button down, something that an executive would look at and be fine with what they see there. And then your title will be the next thing they look at. I highly recommend not putting things like I help companies do X, Y, Z. What they really are going to look for there is what is your position? And what do you do? And so I've got CEO, speaker, podcast host, and sales leader on my profile. The next thing they're going to look at is your about section. Now, this should be what's in it for them. What's in it for that executive if they're going to work with you? What is in it for them? So try and highlight right away your value proposition. With us, we have increasing revenue and lower operating costs. Those are our two primary areas of focus. Beyond that, list a few of the things that you've helped clients do or helped your company to accomplish. So, for example, increased annual sales revenue by 51% during COVID-19, grew sales pipeline by 10x in 6 months, and you get the idea. This should be all about what you can do for that executive and what value you bring. And then I also recommend an easy next step, whether that be taking them to a page on your website or asking for a 15-minute call, an easy next step to get to know you a little bit better. The next section they're going to look at is your featured section. So I've got a number of different podcast sessions here. I've got a free tool that we give, a lead calculator that you can get a hold of real easily. You can look at that video right there. The podcast videos, I've got several there. And then, of course, you've got your different positions that you have been in and worked in. And again, with that, though, think about what you might say there as opposed to just a resume for an executive to look at and say, oh, I see value in what they did there. So that's what my focus is on my LinkedIn profile. The next thing I'm going to go to is volunteer experience. So whether you've worked in a homeless shelter, you've worked for Habitat for Humanity, you've been a soccer coach, you've been some sort of a volunteer somewhere, I would highly recommend bringing that in. There's a really common phrase that people buy from people they know, like, and trust. I've found that to be true for any big purchases throughout my career. I think it's going to be true for you as well. So to help them to get to know you a little bit more, what do you do? What do you bring? What value do you bring through your work? And what value do you bring as far as volunteering and community service? So I'd highly recommend that. And then lastly, recommendations. I would recommend getting at least a handful of recommendations from people that you know well. Don't reach out to people that you may have worked with for a month or so, but some sort of major project accomplishment that you've been able to do with an executive, I'd recommend asking for their recommendation. And then likewise, give recommendations as well. That's one of the good ways to get recommendations, is to give recommendations as well. So get some recommendations on your profile as well. So those are a few quick tips on what you can do on your profile to lead with value and help them to understand what you could potentially do for their company or within your own company as well. So those are just some quick tips. I'll have some more segments following on from here. Be sure to pop over to our website. It's a real easy next step, truckingtower.com, to our lead generation area if you want some free resources or to schedule a 15-minute call. We would be glad to meet with you, and we can give you this free lead calculator. It's been a very popular tool for us within my own companies and then also for other companies as well. So feel free to reach out. We'd love to help you out if we can in growing your revenue as well. So we'll see you on the next Trucking Tower podcast. See you soon.